Joining us on the line is Richard Parsons. Richard is the secretary for Hampton and Richmond Borough FC. Richard, first things first, how are you?
Yeah, very good. I'm speaking to you from the ground at Hampton, the Beverly, and there's a lot of activity going on, even though it's getting towards the evening. Pitch needs a little bit of last-minute tweaking because we had some pretty heavy rain last night. But we'll cover the vulnerable corner of the ground so that we can be assured that there'll be no problems. But there's work going on with TV crews, and we've just had a run-through of the mascots who are going to accompany the team when they come out and bring a wreath as well, which will be laid in the centre circle because it's still part of the Remembrance Day weekend. So there's lots of activity going on, and the ground looks nothing like it normally does, I have to say. We're full of big trucks and temporary walls and cables, and all very exciting though.
And of course, if you're listening to this and you haven't heard, Hampton and Richmond Borough in the FA Cup, you've been drawn against Oldham Athletic. Now, of course, they're a very well-established league football side. They're currently in League Two. I mean, how excited are you to welcome such big opposition?
Yes, I think those of us that can remember recall Oldham playing in the top flight in the old First Division, and they were a force to be reckoned with, and still seem to have a big loyal following, not just in the north, but we've had inquiries from exiled Latics, as they're called, down this area. So I think they're still well supported.
Fantastic. And of course, the FA Cup is one of those magical competitions where you hear of upsets and you hear of these draws where you hear obviously league teams being drawn against non-league sides. I mean, kind of, what are your views on the FA Cup? It must be so exciting for clubs like Hampton and Richmond.
The FA, the Football Association, have made a real effort this year to promote the Cup, particularly at the lower end of the scale, so that prize money in the early stages has been doubled. So that makes it intriguing for all the teams. Some of the very small teams that gain entry and start their campaign right at the beginning of August, it does start as early as that, will have pocketed some useful money towards their expenses and ground improvements, even if they said goodbye to the competition before Premier League clubs had even started playing. So I think the FA have done a good job. It's certainly our end of the game, if you like, the non-league end, increase the interest even more than it used to. And the hope is, I think, that even into the latter stages when the bigger teams dominate, that it will continue to be the force and the drawing power that it's had. So I think there's been some excellent work done on the FA Cup this year, and all credit to the FA for that.
Now, Richard, of course, the focus, understandably, will be on your game tomorrow evening. But I know there's been some changes regarding FA Cup replays and things like that. If it is a draw tomorrow, what happens? Is it that there's no changes for this stage, is there?
No. If there is a draw tomorrow night, it goes to a replay at Oldham in the week after next. So it is provisionally penciled in for Tuesday, the 20th of November, and there will be replays all the way through till the 5th round, where I think there is a change this year and games are decided on the day. So a little way to go to that.
And Richard, you mentioned at the start that obviously you're at the stadium now, you're kind of getting things ready. What has the preparation been like long term since you had the draw? And of course it was announced on BBC One with Mark Chapman presenting the programme, and they announced all the results. What's the preparation been like since that very announcement?
I think it's helped that we had a couple of weeks to get ourselves ready We were able to liaise with Oldham to get an idea of how many supporters were likely to come, to make judgments on segregating supporters, which we don't normally do for our games, but we are doing so this time. It has accelerated some long-term ground improvements that we'd planned, so that we brought them forward. For instance, we've installed a new turnstile block so that we've got separate entrances now for home and away fans. And as I say, we don't normally need them, but we would do were we to get promotion one step higher. So that's long-term planning, and we've been able to bring forward. We've improved the lighting in the stands, and we've invested in a new sound system, and we are going to get a new tunnel, the mobile tunnels that the teams come out of onto the pitch. So, all these things I think we might have left until next season, but in view of the occasion, we've brought that forward, and the ground looks very different at the moment, I have to say, with scaffolding in place for cameras. We've been in regular contact now with both BT Sport, who are televising the game live, and also BBC, because the second round draw, and you mentioned Mark Chapman earlier in your piece, he will be hosting the second round draw from our clubhouse tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
Oh,
that
fantastic.
will go out on BBC Two. So we will go into the draw for the second round, no matter what happens tomorrow night. So that'll be a first for the club.
Fantastic. Well, I bet you're all looking forward to that. And just to double check, Richard, if people are listening to this wondering if they can still get their hands on a last-minute ticket, are there any couple of tickets remaining? Is there any chance people can snap up one before it's too late?
There was a batch put online last night. This morning when I went on, I noticed there were still a few. It may well be that if people were looking for one, they could go onto the website. There's a link to the online ticket portal, and there may just be a chance of getting one. As I say, I haven't got anything to hand to help me on that one at the moment, but there could well be a last-minute few, yeah. Certainly, there won't be any sales at the gate or on the day, so they have to be bought online.
Well, Richard Parsons, thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck to Hampton and Richmond Borough FC tomorrow night.
Thank you very much.